Hey there, it's David H. Lawrence the 17th. I want to talk to you about a conversation that I've had recently and many times before this most recent occurrence, where I have had a discussion and a friendly disagreement with an actor over the idea that I have about how we treat our agents. I was at the Union Hall at SAG-AFTRA, and an actor came up to me and he said, "Yeah, I saw one of your videos, and you casually mentioned that you commission your agent on everything that you do, whether they had anything to do with it or not. Are you nuts? What's wrong with you? If they didn't have, I mean, I would never do that. If they didn't have anything to do with me getting the job, why would I pay them? That's not what I pay them to do. I don't pay them to give them money out of my pocket." And let me just explain in case you've never heard me talk about this. I have an agent. I have agents in a lot of different areas, but I have one agent in particular who I've been with since mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006, somewhere. And I had agents before that, but I didn't really understand their function. I guess it was just something that I finally learned later in life. I mean, I knew what their function was. I know what they do for me and for their other clients, but I didn't really know how they spent their day. And when I came to Los Angeles to become an actor, one of the things that I did was intern at both a large agency, a one-man band agency, so it was just one guy running the agent, which is kind of like what my agent does. He's a boutique agent. And I also interned at a really busy casting office. They cast, at the time I was with them, they were casting 11 shows, and I was an intern there for about 3 years. So I really got a chance to see how the sausage is made. I got a chance to see how casting directors treat all the agents that contact them, and I got a chance to see how agents treat casting directors and their clients, and how casting directors treat the shows and the people that work on those shows. I got a chance to get behind the scenes on all this stuff. And I got to tell you, what I found was life changing. It was attitude changing. If I hadn't done that, there's a chance that I might feel the way this actor that I just spoke with recently, and other actors that I've spoke with who disagree with me on my principle. My principle is my agent in any other business, if I was running a manufacturing business or a service business or something, they would be my sales director, my sales manager, my VP of sales, my marketing director. They would be at a very high level within the organization because that's what they do. They spend almost all day submitting their clients for potential work. And let's think about this process. So just to be clear, I give my agent 10% of whatever projects I work on, whether he puts me up for the project, he closes me for the project or not. If I generate the project and he closes it, or he generates the project and I close it, or any combination thereof. If I was a manufacturer and as the CEO, because that's what I am of my business, I went and sold a really big client on a really big contract, do you think I wouldn't share that with my sales team? Do you think I would say, "Oh yeah, you guys don't get your 10% because, I did all the work"? I mean, what do you think they're motivated by? They're motivated, yes, they have the altruistic motivation of wanting their clients to succeed and make them better and, have them do bigger jobs and deeper jobs and longer jobs. But their motivation is money. And that's not a bad thing. I want their motivation to be money, because when they send me out on an audition, a pre-read audition, which I don't do very much anymore, but sometimes I do, or if they tell me to do a self-tape at home before an audition, before a callback, or before a producer session, or I go straight to producers, whatever it is, it's because they've worked really hard to get me that opportunity. And you have to ask yourself from the very beginning of the process, how many times do they submit me before somebody says, yeah, we'll bring David in. Sure, absolutely. A lot more than I get called in for. And that's the same for every actor. I don't care what level you're at. So let's just start with 100. We'll start with 100 submissions. And they're submitting people all day long. So it's 100 here for this actor, 100 for not in one day, but in general. Out of that 100, it varies, but let's just say 2 to 5 of those say yes. All right? So that's 2 to 5% so far as a hit rate. And we're not anywhere near getting booked and getting paid. So go in for a pre-read. Of the people that come in for the pre-read, the 50 or 100 people that they call in for the pre-reads, they pull back 3, 5, 10, depends on what the show has asked them to do. I only want to see a certain number, blah, blah, blah. So now you've cut that by 1/10. All right. So then the callback comes, and maybe I nail the callback. Then it's me against some other people, and maybe I get pinned for something, or maybe I'm put on a veil for something. Eventually, out of the 250,000 actors that are members of the unions around the world, and the number of roles that are available, one person gets booked for each one of those roles. So can you see how the numbers game goes from massive numbers of submissions to very small numbers of being called in, to even smaller numbers of callbacks, to even smaller numbers of being put on a veil and pinned, to even smaller numbers of getting booked, the most minor numbers. But yet the agents do all that work. So let's say the average, we already know, out of the average SAG-AFTRA actor, 1 out of every 200 submissions, 1 out of every 200 auditions, they get booked on. 1 out of every 200. And how many submissions does it take to get an audition? The point here is, after you get booked and the agent does the great work of negotiating your fees and making sure that the contract is right and that you're being treated at the level that you've achieved in the business, and fighting against the whole idea of dropping rates and keeping your quote up and all the things that they do, how dare I not share in the spoils of that relationship with my agent, no matter what the project is? I mean, I remember when I used to be with a voiceover agent, and I would bring a check in to the woman that ran the agent every year, plus a plate of brownies, and she would be like, "What's this for? What is this all for?" Because it was books and existing clients that I had, and returns and things that she hadn't expected. But I want her motivated. I want all my agents to be motivated, and I want them to be motivated by money. It's not a bad thing that they're motivated by money. You want them to go out and get money for you so they can get money for themselves. That's the whole goal. That's why sales departments have contests. In any other business, they have contests, right? They have special prizes and vacations and conventions and all, they have any number of different things. Your agent sits there in his or her office all day long plugging you. And occasionally you get called in, and occasionally from that you get called back. I actually have a pretty good callback rate. And very occasionally something goes way wrong and they book me, right? For all that work, if I get booked, if my quote for a top of show is $10,000, my agent will get $1,000 of that. And that's going to cover all of the work that they've done to get me to that point. If I go in for a day shot for only scale, it's like close to $1,000. They make $100 for all the work that it took them to get there. They make $100. Are you kidding me? That's SAG scale. Luckily, I have a quote, and I get a little bit more than that from time to time. I just look at this all from a very different perspective of this cheap is the best way I can describe it, actor who absolutely wouldn't even consider sharing with his agent if he worked out some deal on the side and got some gig on the side and figured something out. And I can't live like that. I want my agent on that wall, right? I need him on that wall. I want him on that wall, you know? And I wonder what you think about all that. I wonder if you think I'm crazy. Like a couple of people in my life, maybe 5 or 6 people in the whole time that I've been taking actors out to lunch and talking to them about my strategy and my tactics. I want my team to be happy. I want my agent to be happy. I want him to think, oh, for David, I'm going to go the extra mile. I want him to be motivated. And he's a friend too. It's not because of my attitude about money. It's because we're all pulling in the same direction. He's on my team just as surely as my coaches are for VO2GoGo and my tech guys are for my websites and my app. And it just, to me, it's like, what is it that makes them tick? Give them more of that. That's my point. What do you think? Leave me a comment. If you are on vo2gogo.com, leave me a comment below this video. If you're not on vo2gogo.com, if you're watching this on YouTube, go to vo2 gogo.com and let me know what you think, because that's where the conversation is nice and sane and easygoing and no haters and no trolls. If you'd like to join my YouTube channel and get notified when these videos come out, because we're doing one a day for the entire year, it's the challenge that I've put myself up for. Go ahead and click on my head there. If you don't see a head, then look for a subscribe button somewhere on this page. And if you'd like to see the latest episode of these videos that I've done, click on that frame and YouTube will play it for you. I'm David H. Lawrence, the 17th. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.